there's one specific thing, and we all know what that is. If you're doing cold email, you have encountered this on a daily basis, and that's just going to spam. It's like going to jail. It's the worst feeling ever. If all your emails are going to spam, it can ruin your whole day and week as well. And I'm here to show you how you can fix that and save the rest of your week. So I'm not gonna guarantee you're never gonna go into spam. I do too, basically every other day it happens, but I'm gonna show you how you can fix that, and also fix it fast, fix it in 24 hours without replacing your whole infrastructure. So the most underrated part about cold email, and the most important thing, is just everyone optimizes copy, everyone obsesses over reply rates, but nobody talks about the thing that determines whether your email is seen at all, and that's deliverability. So you can have the best copy in the world, I always talk about it, the most targeted list, the cleanest ICP, the best message market fit, and you still land in spam. And you know why? Because you're using fucking Gmails to outreach, using the shitty reseller inboxes, you're using the worst quality, the cheapest stuff on the market, and you're surprised. Well, I'm here to break it to you. That's the problem, right? You need to pay for quality infrastructure, and trust me, it's gonna save you a lot of money in the long run. If you wanna do like little tricks where I'm gonna save this much money on the sequencer, I'm gonna save this much money on the inboxes, bro, just get good quality stuff and do less, and then that builds you money and you can get more of it, right? Whereas you could go to the cheap stuff, it's gonna burn your money, and then it's gonna take you longer to get to where you want to go. I know you are trying to save that $50 by going to fucking Smart Lead instead of Plus5 or Instantly, or just to some backhanded sequencer, or you save like, I'm gonna send from Gmails because it's free. Don't do that. I have done that 3 years ago, and I would be a lot further ahead than I am right now. I'd probably be doing 7 figures a month if I had skipped that. So learn from me, if nothing else, right? If you want good quality infrastructure, I always recommend go to MailDeck. Why? Is because something I oversee, something I get my infrastructure from. And if you want to get 40K a month cents for $99, here's a diversified stack you can take advantage of. 2 Outlook premium accounts, 500 cents each a day. Outlook, Google, and SMTP, roughly about 40K for $100. That's a damn good deal if I say so myself. Right now it's Easter sale, so that's why the promotion is there. But if you want to do other diversification, you can also do so as well, or just Outlook or Google, whatever you want. Personally, I'm doing like 90% Outlook because it's by far the best ROI. If you want to read up on Email Bible, you can come and you can read what I recommend and just check that. So what most people do and why it makes sense. So like I said, it's just they do everything else, but they care about the infrastructure the least. Right? You write that fancy copy, you buy the fancy list, and you just forget about the infrastructure. That's not how you should be doing things. 3 things you also need to know before you can fix anything is your inbox placement rate. What percentage of your emails actually landing in inbox versus Google, Microsoft, what it is, spam filter score, like how spammy is your copy and your account health, and also whether or not your domains are cooked. So check your domains as well. Did you find your domains on any kind of blacklist? If you don't know what blacklists are, just literally go to MX Toolbox. If you want to get the most basic one, just put your domain here. It's literally free. You could check if you're on major blacklist, if you have any problems with it, and that's it. Just wait for it to load. It's going to take a few seconds. As you can see, this domain is on 2 blacklists, but these don't really matter because they're paid to get off of, so I'm fine with that. And that's it. Inbox placement test you can basically do anywhere. If you want a reliable source for that, you can go to Email Shield and you can do that as well. You could come to features, you could come to inbox placement, you could test it here. It's very easy. It's going to cost like 1 cent per inbox placement. It's very simple. And also if you want spam filter, you could come here to your spam checker and then put your copy here, and it's going to give you the spam words, etc., anything that you should be changing. And then just combine all of these, and then you're going to have like a rough idea of what's going on. Obviously it's not going to scream at you that, hey, your domain's burned. It's going to be pretty obvious though. I think like any 5-year-old could figure it out. Pre-launch test, what I recommend to do every single time. And it takes like 15 minutes and it's gonna save you weeks, right? So spam trigger words, like I said, personalization score. Also just make sure you do like enough personalization, because if all your emails sound the same, even though you're using spin tags, it's not gonna save you. Spin tags is very, very easily identifiable. You wanna do like 1-to-1 return copies. If you don't know how to do that, again, you could go to something like Lead Sonar, you could use Clay as well. But basically, you can just automate one-to-one written emails with this tool. It's very, very nice. And then subject line matters as well. CTA, just make sure your copy is overall this message market fits. So what that means is your ICP matches with the copy that you're sending, and that's going to be generally fine, right? And then you also want to check your deliverability rate across Google, Microsoft, and overall. Anything below 80% is going to be a bit of a problem, right? Stop below 80. And then just keep warming up your inboxes. And also, please, for the love of all that is holy, keep in mind the inbox types. Just follow their recommended sending protocols. And if you want access to this document, it's going to be somewhere in the description, or you can take a screenshot of it. This is the most important part. For Google Outlook and SMTP, here's my recommendations. Just take a screenshot of this. You can just frame it on your wall. I pretty much have done, and it's very, very useful for you to see like what can you send, roughly how many warm-ups, how many calls, sending, setup time, warm-up time, etc., etc. Just keep these in mind, right? Please. Spam filters explained. Okay, all right. Spam filter score explained. So this is gonna be, if you don't know what I mean, it's just gonna be like here. So if you have 0 to 2 spam words in your copy, that's fine, you can keep going. 3 to 4, adjust it. 5 to 6, just, go back to adjust it. It's going to be high risk with Outlook, maybe okay for Google. 7 to 9, poor. 10 is going to be, pretty much everything is going to be blocked, right? I just advise keep it in this score, and, that's going to be the best for you. Per account breakdown. The most overlooked data points. So per account view shows the inbox placement for each individual sending account your test did. Again, go to any tool like, or you can use Email Shield for email tester, or just inbox placement. And you're going to be able to see for each account what the percentage is and what's the test score, right? Like how many of them landed and what is like for specific inboxes, and you can really find the pattern there. So automated ongoing test. So you should find a tool that does this automatically as well and sends you a report. I know these are hard to find, but you want to use something, again, just use the ones I recommended previously. I'm not gonna push them down your neck, but you can find whatever you want. This is what I'm using, right? Just make sure you do it daily, because stuff changes like hourly, and the best thing you can do is at least track it daily, right? And just doing it automatic ongoing test just solves this. You can check on it every day, have something like a like an AI bot look at it and just send you a message on Telegram like, oh Sabo, big problem with your emails on this campaign. Just make sure you take a look at it. Boom, and I see it on my phone, take a look, and I see, oh shit, the email test is quite bad. So again, you might be advanced and you might be laughing at this video like, oh, I know how not to go to spam. Like, first of all, why are you even watching this video? And second of all, I'm pretty sure you don't do this. You don't do automatic ongoing tests for inbox placements every single day. If you are, good job, keep going. So next point is just external platform testing. So if you're using a different sequencer, not everyone runs their campaigns through the same tool that has the placement testing feature. So in that case, like I said, I recommend using an external tool. But if you're using something like +5 Instantly, they have their internal tools, so you can use them as well. Well, we already talked about this, right? So the full fixed checklist is just copy, infrastructure, and accounts, and that's it. So if your spam filter is above 5, then remove and just make sure it's like 1 to 2 words max, right? Just keep that in mind. If your inbox placement is below 80%, check per account data, retire any inbox that is below 60%, just keep them warmed up, check the blacklist report, review your warm-up pool. Are you using Smart Lead by chance? I don't have any beef with them, but their pool has been really, really bad lately. I might even say it's been poisoned. If Microsoft is significantly worse than Google, remove all links, kill open tracking, but that should go without saying. But some of the campaigns you guys are running requires that, so it's fine. But you're gonna go into spam more. Never use ESP matching on Outlook. But again, like if you want like specific tips like this, just go to the document I showed you below. Quick diagnostics, reply rate under 1%, you're landing in spam or there's bad lists or targeting. Bounce rate is 3% or more, unverified lists, bad verification, or just bad handling for catch-alls, or there's a difference between like sender bounce and receiver bounce. Usually it's just receiver bounce that is being tracked, and If it's combination, 3%, that could be okay because some of the emails might not have sent out. But usually if it's just receiver bounce is what most sequencers track, and it's a bit of a problem with your infrastructure. So inbox placement's fine, but still on replies, then, you know, your problem is just a copy and the quality is just not delivering. Or for example, if you're not getting like at least like 1% automatic or just out of office reply rates, that might be because you're emailing people who don't check their emails, don't have these system setups, and that's okay. But do you really want to email them if that's not an avenue that's really good to reach them at? Like, do you want to email roofers? Do you want to email plumbers? I personally do not, because they're not really super good to work with. They're also kind of broke. And anyway, just something to keep in mind, right? Microsoft spam score high, Google clean. Outlook specific copy triggers links, right? Like remove all links, but you know, just Outlook cares more about this. We talked about it briefly. Works 1 week, dies the second or third. Domain burning from oversending or bad warm-up pool. Check your send as well. If you're following the proper guides, right? If you're sending 5 a day on Outlook or you're sending 20 per Google. And by the way, like just if you do all of this correctly, we're still sometimes going to have this issue, right? I'm not saying like this is going to be like the end all fix all solution to your problems, but most like 99% is going to be okay. But there's like the 1% chance that I sometimes like still like scratch my head like, what the fuck did we do wrong? Everything should be fine. And you know, at that point, you kind of just need to replace the stuff that you think is the bottleneck. So that might not be the answer that you're looking for, but if anyone sells you like a magic pill to fix it in like 24 hours or just 2 hours instantly on all scenarios, then just run away. This is just for like most scenarios, right? And I hope you understand that. So there's 3 methods, right? Pre-launch, we talked about it, automated weekly or well, hopefully daily tests, and then finally just external platform tests. All right, core principles. So deliverability is not a one-time setup task. It's just something you do every day. Like sometimes I still get questions. Do I need to enable warm-up after the domain is warmed up? That's a fair question, by the way. It just kind of freaks me out. Like, yes, of course you do, right? You need to do it. If you're a beginner, I get that. That's a fair question to ask, right? Like bottom line is you can't fix what you cannot see. And also just keep in mind, right? You can also fix burn domains in like a couple days. If you just enable delivery protocol, you can fix it. But you can fix it faster if you have daily ongoing tests and it analyzes if there's a problem before it becomes disastrous, right? That's what you want to avoid. And that's pretty much it. If you want the document I just showed in the video, click below. It's probably going to be a link somewhere here. If you want, you can just copy the link from here as well. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.